Top 4. Once upon a time, Morgana was a royal sorceress, but she was falsely accused and exiled to the dark forest. It was said that no one who entered ever returned. Prince Edmund set out to uncover the truth. As soon as he entered, a thick mist surrounded him, and he came face to face with Morgana, now a ghostly figure with glowing eyes. You can escape, but only if you find the enchanted candle before dawn, she declared, binding him with magic. Edmund rushed through the forest, red eyes watching him from the shadows. As time ran out, he spotted an old house with a flickering candle inside, but when he reached for it, the candle vanished. Morgana reappeared, smirking coldly. "You must sacrifice what is most precious to you." Edmund realized he had to give up his royal title. With no other choice, he let his blood drip onto the candle. A blinding light flashed, the forest disappeared, and Morgana was gone. But from that moment on, Edmund became a nameless wanderer, lost to the world forever. Top 3.
They say there's a cursed forest where no one returns. But one man did. Sigvard, a young hunter, wandered too far. The trees twisted, shadows deepened, whispers echoed. At its heart, a massive tree covered in glowing runes, and at its core a sword, pulsing with light. He touched it. Flash, the ground shook. Vines came to life. Then a shadow emerged. Vargulf, red eyes, a wicked grin. He gripped the sword. The vines wrapped around Sigvard. He gasped, turning to wood, his face frozen in terror. Now, part of the tree, Vargulf stepped out. The forest fell silent. Who will be next?
Top 2. Listen well, for I shall tell you of a night when ice gripped Midgard, and a young warrior faced his cruel fate. Hakon, son of Chieftain Bjorn, was born under a prophecy. One day, you will face Fenrir, the great wolf, chained by the gods. If you fail, your village will fall. Years passed, and Hakon became a mighty warrior, refusing to believe in fate. But one night, beneath a sky ablaze with the northern lights, a deafening roar shattered the silence. In the moon's cold glow, Fenrir emerged, his eyes burned like embers, his fangs sharp enough to cleave a long ship in two. Without hesitation, Hakon drew his ancestral sword. But before he could strike, a voice rumbled through his mind. "You cannot kill me, mortal. I am your destiny. You are the one who will break my chains." And then the ground cracked. The sacred bindings that held Fenrir trembled. One by one, they snapped like thunder. Horror-struck, Hakon, his very presence had freed the beast. With no way back, he lunged forward, driving his blade into Fenrir's throat. But instead of blood, darkness erupted, swallowing him whole. When he awoke, Hakon was no longer himself. His eyes burned with a wild golden glow, his breath heavy like a coming storm. A terrible hunger clawed at his soul. He had become the wolf. Since that night, when the full moon rises, a monstrous wolf stalks the forests, hunting those who dare whisper Fenrir's name. And they say, Hakon is still out there, bound by the curse of fate. And you ever hear a howl echoing from the north? Pray, for he may be coming. Top 1. The Onus Curse. A week ago, as a light drizzle fell over Tokyo's crowded streets, Aiko found herself wandering into an old antique shop tucked away in a hidden corner of Shinjuku. The wooden door creaked as she pushed it open, and at once, the musty scent of time-worn relics filled her nose. Dust-covered shelves lined the dimly lit store, each stacked with forgotten artifacts, remnants of stories long past. But what caught Aiko's attention was a Mascanoni mask perched on the highest shelf. Deep crimson in color, its hollow eyes seemed to sink into darkness, and its twisted grin curved as if mocking anyone who dared to look at it. Something about it pulled her in, an unshakable magnetism that made it impossible to look away. She reached out. A bony hand shot out of nowhere, gripping her wrist. Aiko gasped, her pulse spiking. The warning was simple, yet chilling in a way that lingered. Aiko arched a brow before letting out a half-smirk. She wasn't the type to believe in ghost stories. To her, this was nothing more than a beautifully crafted relic, something cool to show off online. A conversation piece to impress her friends. Hours later, standing in front of her mirror, she held up the mask once more, the warm glow of her apartment lights casting soft shadows across its sinister design. Just for a second, she murmured, more to herself than anyone else. Then, she pressed the mask against her face. Instantly, a freezing chill shot through her body. The room felt deathly silent, as if the entire world outside had vanished into a void. A shiver crawled down her spine, a weight, an eerie heaviness, as though something was slithering beneath her skin, settling inside her. She opened her eyes and froze. The reflection staring back wasn't hers. Her eyes, no, its eyes burned a deep, glowing red. Her lips had cracked, twisting into a grotesque grin. From her forehead, two sharp horns jutted out, gleaming under the dim light. She tried to scream. Nothing came out. A voice, deep, distorted, ancient, echoed inside her skull. "You put it on. Now, you belong to me." The mask tumbled to the floor, but the nightmare had only just begun. Extra bonus. Santa Claus, the mask of Beelzebub. In a realm of myth and controversy, one question endures: is Santa Claus real, or merely a figment of our imagination? Many whisper that behind his gentle smile lurks a dark secret. Santa is nothing more than the cunning mask of Beelzebub, the Lord of Darkness who leads souls into forbidden desires. In the icy lands of North America, amid harsh snowstorms and dim winter nights, Beelzebub adopts the guise of Santa Claus. With enchanting tales, he cultivates belief in a benevolent gift-giver, all while hiding a sinister plot, exploiting deep human cravings to lure hearts into temptation and transform their faith into prey for his dark indulgences. Do you believe the magic within that bag of gifts? Or are you falling into Beelzebub's trap, where joy becomes a snare for the soul? Open your eyes and heed this warning. Every gift is more than a symbol of love. It's an invitation to desire and greed. As souls gradually lose their moral compass, they become vulnerable to his lure. Even as dawn breaks, the unsettling truth remains. Behind the warm holiday tale lies a terrifying secret. Stay vigilant and never let blind faith lead you into darkness, for within every heart lies the power to defy deception.